Tonight, it's round 9 of the European Sprint Series from Watkins Glen, brought to you live on the Total Sim Sport YouTube channel. I am James Parfitt, and as always, I'll be joined by Mr. Chris Rowlands shortly. Tonight's track is the classic Watkins Glen classic boot layout at a length of 3.41 miles or 5.47 kilometers. The track itself has hosted events such as the NASCAR Sprint Series, the NASCAR Nationwide Series, and the 1961 Formula One Grand Prix, and that was won by Inez Island in a Lotus Climax, and then went on to become the home of the US Grand Prix for the next 2 decades. With corners such as the S's and Toe, and of course Turn 6 aptly named the Boot, the next hour of racing is surely going to be epic. So let's bring in Chris to the booth. Chris, welcome in.
Good evening, James. Good evening, everyone. Delighted to be here at one of my favourite tracks on the calendar.
Now, last week's race brought a spectacular race in the LMP2, with Jan Stadinsky being given a 40-second penalty at the finishing line, handing the win to Mr. Stuart Bickley. With a different type of track this evening, Chris, what are we expecting from tonight's race?
Well, in my opinion, Watkins Glen is a bit of a leveller, or at least how do you explain me being able to mix it up with the actual talented drivers when I race here? Seriously though, you do get a lot of draft around this track the whole way round, and at least personally I find it's quite easy to follow. So if you can keep within a second or so of the car in front, they are going to struggle to shake you off. Look out for big battles down the big straight, especially big battles down the back straight, because we've not got the bus stop chicane tonight. So they've got a long time to overhaul any gaps towards the car in front.
With it looking likely, though, Chris, that Jan Corbs will take the championship in the LMP1s, LMP2 and GTE is not so clear-cut, really, is it?
No, they're really close. I think it just depends on who's showing up on the day and who has a good race. But as we hit crunch time for the championship, I do wonder, are we going to see some more aggressive driving as people look up that table to try and capture just a little bit of that glory?
Okay, so that leads nicely into my next question for you then, Chris. You know, we've got the long straight. We know there's going to be action down into outer loop with a long corner at the end. Are we expecting that to be our main overtaking point, or are we going to see dives as such into shoot and toe, you know, towards the end of the lap?
Well, you can follow the whole way around here, really. I think that is going to be the main opportunity, as we alluded to earlier, the back straight. It's the best place to make that crucial overtake. I do wonder, are we going to see people aim to overtake into turn one? I don't want to call it a mistake, because overtaking is not really a mistake, but it's perhaps a strategically naive thing to do, as we're actually coming up to it here with Alexander Spetz right now. Because you make the overtake into turn one, you're compromising your exit, and you're giving the guy that you've just overtaken the entire back straight of draft to get straight back past you, while you've cost both of yourselves time to the cars around you, and those seconds are going to be precious. So I also think it's pretty easy to stay side by side here for large portions of the race, which is going to complicate things for the prototypes when they're trying to lap traffic. However, this is one of the easier circuits to deal with traffic on, so long as they all stay online, and I think that'll be a welcome relief for everyone after Red Bull Ring last week.
Yeah, that, to be fair though, I've got to be honest, that Red Bull Ring was one of the best races I think we've had this season. It was absolutely epic, and if anybody hasn't seen last week's Red Bull Ring, then please, you know, go and check it out in the video link as well. We've got 2.5 minutes of qualifying. Now we've got 13 LMP1s tonight, Chris, so that's going to be an absolute barnstorming of a series, isn't it?
And it will also be quite interesting because, of course, the nature of how iRacing splits its multi-class series, we've got the entire LMP1 sign-ups for the 9 o'clock GMT ESS here. There is a very wide range of abilities here. We've got a sub 1k driver. We've got Alexander Spetz's 7k I rating. So it's not often you have a 6,000 IR split between the drivers here. Of course, you know, they've all got A licenses, so they're all safe, competent drivers, we'd like to think. But I do wonder if we're going to see perhaps some of the faster GTEs and the faster LMP2s. Are they going to have a problem with anticipating moves from the LMP1s that they would expect from maybe the fastest drivers that the less fast drivers are perhaps not quite so capable of making. But I guess we're just going to have to find out in about half an hour's time. Although Locke Marchand was talking to you, I believe, the other week, and he was saying lap 4 or lap 5 is when they'll be catching. So it's not long in the future until stuff is going to start going down.
Yeah, I think to be fair, you know, as you say, we have got a massive range of iRating in the LMP1 series. So, you know, you're kind of hopeful, I think, Chris, that, you know, the people at the lower end kind of have I don't want to be derogatory and say rough idea of what they're doing, but you would have thought in an LMP1 car they would kind of know what they're doing with the car itself. Would you not have thought?
We don't know how much some of these drivers have practiced. I'd like to think they have practiced, because it's not a good idea to jump into an hour-long race when you're not entirely sure how the car is going to behave. One thing, and I've certainly been guilty of this before, and it's why I generally stick to single-class makes, and what makes it so impressive how these drivers can just do lap after lap in multi-class, is you need to practice driving offline for a large portion of the track, because especially in the prototype cars, you're not always going to be able to take the ideal line into a corner because there is a lot of traffic. Although only 15 GTE cars means, in theory, it's not going to be quite so tricky for some of our drivers. And again, like with last week, we've got lots of Chevrolets in again tonight, and that's going to be I think 5 we've got in the split, and 1 Ford in, which is Jerome Charvet. So again, something for everyone there in the GT field.
Yeah, it's turning out though, Chris. The last 2 weeks we haven't seen this massive dominant Porsche field, have we? And it's quite nice to see the Corvette and the Ford getting sort of in the mix, really. But as we come to the end of qualifying, then, Chris, why don't you run us through the grid for tonight's race?
Yep, so Neil De Backer has put it on pole. He's 2/10 clear of Daniele Pizzo in second. But you can see just how close that field is. We've got the top 7 are separated by just over 3/10 there. Simon Cowlarts is leading the second row in third, alongside Alexander Spetz. He is fourth. We've got an entire lap for the pace cars here, so they're going to have those tyres nice and warm, you'd like to think. Carlo Labatti, he's fifth, alongside Ollie Cole, who I don't believe we've seen much of in the LMP1s here, so that'll be interesting to see how he gets on. It's quite high up. Jan Kerbs, he's often qualified around 7th or 8th, but that's because we've only got 7 or 8 drivers normally, so I'll be interested to see how Jan deals with being in the middle of the pack on the first couple of laps. Jim De Backer is in 8th. Followed by Jake Carey in 9th, Luke Santos is 10th, Rob Armstrong is 11th, and Stephen Clapham is 12th, leaving Stockton and Schultz to bring up the rear of our 14-car LMP1 field, which is the largest LMP1 field we have seen here in the broadcast split. LMP2s are being led by Michael Mariani, and Owen Carroll is alongside him in second. Again, look at just how close that top 3 are, less than 0.2 of a second. Francesco Panetta is in third. Riccardo Giroli is fourth, followed by Fernando Teixeira, Martin Bielak, Alistair Catchpole 7th, who claims he was online for getting at least onto the front row and binned it on his second lap. Zafoli is in 8th, followed by Dylan Freckleton, Yuso Ninavara, and Claudio Maldi, who chose not to set a lap time. I say chose. If it could easily have been off tracks. It's quite easy to rack them up when you're pushing. And then our 15-car GTE grid, we've got Mike Dam on pole, followed by Will Barraviera. And this is another field that is pretty close together. Look at those gaps. Hugo Valentin in third, and Roman Verdolivo in fourth, and Marco Ricci in fifth, all within just over 1/10 of a second. Saeed Bashoa in sixth, followed by Richard Simner, who is an ever-present at the moment in the GTE field for the broadcast bit. He's alongside Mattis Barrow in 8th and Johan Martin Meyer in 9th. Jeffrey Comel and Jerome Charvet, David Flamant, Michael Etienne, Matthew Kakino and David Clack round out our GT field. And look at that, 14 cars separated by a second. And to be honest, David Clack 1.8 seconds behind. That's not that much of a gap either. So I think we're going to see yet another very close GTE race. No Jan Studensky in the LMP2s this week either.
No.
So that blows the field ever so slightly open there.
Got 2 corners left here to go. I think oh no, he's taken the lead there for the victory. Welcome to race day in the Jeans Bowl F3 League. Heads up the inside, that's 2 positions in 1 corner.
Kind of just throw the keys in the bowl and go for it, so that's it.
Okay, welcome back. Thank you so much for staying in chat and joining us this evening. That's the Jeans Bowl F3 series that us at Total Sim Sport will be bringing to you shortly as well. So we are currently going round the boot in the LMP1s. I'm excited, Chris. How are you doing over there? You settling in nicely?
Well, I was settling in nicely, and then while we were at our advert break, Jan Curbs has just decided to go around the bus stop chicane on the pace lap, which, much to the ire of the drivers behind him, who I think don't need that kind of stress. As you're building up for an hour of what is going to be really intense racing. We're not far now from starting, James.
Yeah, we're heading round the last 2 corners now, and then we'll be going round the right-hander down to the start, finishing straight. Oh, there's been a crash in the LMP1 series on the pace lap already, Chris. I believe that was Cole and Spets and Corbs have slid to the back of the LMP1 field, but the rest of them are go, guys, and we are away. Up in front, there's another one in the back as well. That's an absolutely... We'll have a look at that replay shortly, but we've got Carlo Labadi out in front, Tobacco in second there, Chris. It didn't look quite as clean there, Chris, as I was expecting. To be fair, with cars spinning out on the pace lap.
No, I think Chris Foskett's incredulity about 14 LMP1s was well deserved. That had it been a very spicy, not even a start, a spicy before the race even. But I guess that that will perhaps thin out the field a little bit and cause less drama later on, we can hope.
Yeah, and you can see there as well with the LMP2s, everybody's really close together. We're on board with Giroli at the moment. He's got Texera tucked right up behind him as well. And in the GTEs, we've got currently Verdalivo, I believe, is down in 4th. He's got Simnar behind him as well. And Bashoa behind him in 6th, Chris. You know, they're coming down into the chute. They're going to be going round into tow very shortly as well. This has been an absolutely outstanding start. A few big crashes to get us underway, which is what we were hoping wouldn't happen. But as you say, with 14 LMP1s, Chris, was it inevitable?
Inevitable, because it doesn't really take too much concentration to manage a pace lap. And I mean, they managed 3/4 of the pace lap without an issue. And they've not got their thinking hats on, I think, because you're not gonna win an hour-long race on the first lap. You are going to lose it though, and that seems to be what's happened to Jan Curbs, Clapham, Spets, and I believe we've lost 4 LMP2s as well. Catchpole, Carroll, Belak and Maldi are all down, which only really gives us the 7. We've only got the 7 LMP2s sort of in the main pack now. Yeah, this was the initial thing with Spets and Corbs. Spets just seems to be getting a little bit on the gas, and there you go, bang! Oh, he's up, he's flying. It's a lot of cars involved in that one as well. Belak, as you say, was involved in that as well. Spets was the main protagonist, unfortunately, and that doesn't bode well on him for the rest of the race. As we see Mariani in the LMP2, he's currently, I got him in 2nd position. There's the other part of the other replay. Look at that behind, Chris. The cars are going up in the air and completely flying. It's an unbelievable start to this hour-long race, guys. 2.5 minutes in, Chris, and we've had cars flying up in the air already. Yeah, it's not what you want to see, really. We want to see hardcore racing. I know Spets didn't hold the brakes there, but I think even if he hadn't, he was on the racing line. That was going to end in disaster regardless of what decision he made once he'd gone round. And I guess he didn't realise how much damage he had. after that first bit of contact for him to then spin round, going around the outside to unfortunately ruin 3 LMP2 drivers' races as well. But this is all good news for the GTE field because it has reduced the number of prototypes to potentially kill them later on in the race. So there's always a positive we can look at, and also look at how close the top 5 are in LMP1.
Yeah, so we've got Carlos in first, Tabaka in second, Pizzo in third. The second, Tabaka in fourth, Labate who's currently in fifth. He's back, I believe, he's back in a Porsche for this race, Chris. So that's interesting after him taking the Audi on the last race out. We've got Carey in sixth, Santos in seventh, Armstrong in eighth, Cole in ninth, Schultz in 10th, Stockton in 11th, and Jan Curbs is down in 12th, with Clapham and Spets is in the pits. Chris, I'm quite flabbergasted about the start, as well. And it's currently we've only got 6 LMP2s running, and that just seems a crazy start for a top split, Chris. Like, I was expecting, maybe the odd accident, but I wasn't quite expecting for it to all go wrong on the pace lap.
Yep, I think it was that initial incident with the LMP1s. The LMP2s were pretty much sitting ducks because I do feel for Mariani, who was in pole, because what decision do you make there? You've got to go. We're on the green light's already gone. If you don't go, everyone else is going to go around you and you get swamped. And this is a very competitive LMP2 split.
Yeah,
so as much as you can't win it on that one. Sorry, James.
That's right. We've got Commel going, trying to take on Barrel as he's coming round the boot and down into the hill section. We're going to be heading down there now up through the gears. We're going to be looking out just after the 100 board. There it is. We're going to be on the brakes down into third gear, second, maybe third on the exit. And then we're going to be flicking through to fourth, up the hill, brake on just before the brow. And we're going to be round again. As you see, these guys are very close together in the GTE fields. These have managed to keep it clean relatively, Chris, haven't they? They gave that gap at the beginning.
They've kept it pretty clean.
They've clicked it very quick. Well, we're going to say so far, but let's hope for that. As you see, Tabaka there has just gone past Pizzo with Labate tucked up right behind him as well. These guys are coming round, going to be heading round the last corner very shortly. There you go. They're off round and on to the start finishing straight, accelerating out. Through the gears as much as possible, down up into fifth. You're looking for the board on the left and you're going to be on the brakes again. Como is chasing down Barrelot. He's got this long straight, and as we're expecting, he's pulled out on the left hand side of your screen. Barrelot's on the right at the moment. As we look at it, we've got LMP1s coming in behind as well, so this is going to get even spicier for these guys. Are we going to see the same what we saw last week with 3 classes, 3 cars? And literally within the space of a corner, they were all there together. As we jump on board with Cowlats now, he's heading round the chute and he's going to be coming down to the toe. He's diving past the 2 Corvettes and he's going to be heading up into the toe section now. There we go. We're going to let it roll onto the accelerator, taking the inside line, clearing as many of these GTEs as we can before we get down into this hill section. We're going to be hard on the brakes, hoping so that we've got enough room from a GTE, and we're going to be off again. We're going to be looking at taking the inside line. Round we go, round we go, round we go. We're on the accelerator, taking another inside line. We're going to be nestling out on the right-hand side now, getting ready for the second to last corner. Round another GTE, and then we've got the sun beaming in our eyes as we head round the last corner and on to the start-finish straight. Cowlot's managed that really well, Chris, didn't he? He cleared the GTEs when he needed to. He didn't really do anything stupid like he could have done with that Corvette, for instance. He could have taken a dive up turn 1.
Yep, that was like a hot knife through butter, professionally done. And as you can see, there's plenty of space, and there's 2 lines through each corner that you can take if you cooperate, but it requires you to have very sensible car body language, so make it obvious what you're doing early. You saw there as he went through toe, turn 7, he was deliberately going wide on the entry so that he could get a really good exit on the inside. It was obvious to the GTEs that he was going to take the inside, which just means there's not going to be that miscommunication where the GTEs try and go offline to accommodate them, because that's where we're going to see any incidents, and I suspect we'll see some later with some technically quite tired drivers, as Verdelivo there was off track in the background.
Yeah, I think we've got 52 minutes remaining, and as you say, the cooperation's got to be there. As you can see, we have got an absolute chaos, and we've got to touch it with Jake Carey there as well. We'll see if we can see what happened to him as we're heading around the toe. That was, I believe, probably between chute and toe. There might have been a touch there. But this is the problem, isn't it? You know, we touch on it every single week. This traffic management from these guys, you're kind of looking at where's going to be the best place, Chris, because we know the speed difference between the LMP1s. We know that they are considerably quicker than the GTEs, but they've got to manage that traffic, though, haven't they? You know, we've got 51 minutes remaining, Chris. You don't want to lose it all because you've dived up somebody inside the hill and they've not really paid attention to what's actually happening.
No, and it is a fine balance, though, because you don't want to be too respectful, because then you end up, as Jake Carey, I believe, must have some damage, because it's too early to be pitting for your solo pit stop after that hit. Perhaps it would have been worth Jake just waiting a lap or two, just so he could definitely be within the pit window, but we'll see if he can make that last until the end. It may well be that he had a meatball flag and didn't feel safe going out while in the middle of traffic, perhaps. But yeah, it's a fine balancing act with traffic. Be too cautious and you just lose too much time lap after lap. Be too aggressive and your race will probably be ended.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. You know, slightest little touches that almost happened to Carey there, that we would sit back and just think they would literally be innocent, because we know LMP1s are quite strong cars anyway. As you see, Charvet there is currently under attack. He's just been passed by Flamand as they head down into outer loop and down into the chute section. Charvet's coming back. Was it on the right-hand side? On the outside, I believe. But we've got Meyer. There we go. There is Charvet and Flamand. Charvet has not given up that position in his Ford. He's got an excellent exit out as they head round into toe. He is tucked right up the back. As you see, there you go. Oh, Flamand is going to be looking and pushing that inside line as they head down into heel now. He's going to be climbing it all over the back of him. Not an ideal passing spot. He closes very quickly on the inside there, Charvet, so be careful as he comes down and off up into second to last corner, up over the hill onto the brakes. And we're going to try, I think, looking at this battle, Chris, Charvet's got to think logically, hasn't he? You know, we've discussed the draft on that straight, and we're only 3 corners from it. If I was Charvet myself, I would be personally looking to hold this out till at least that long straight.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult though, because Flamand has got Barrow's draft in front of him as well, which is just going to allow him to defend a bit more. He is actually defending the line slightly into turn 1, which is a slightly interesting decision. We'll see if it does help him or not. They're taking very similar lines through the exit though. We'll have to keep an eye on whether or not they can do that. But here you've got Ricky and Valentin close together as well.
Yeah, these two are currently on the straight at the moment. The door is closing there from Ricky, but Valentin is out on the left-hand side. Is he going to be looking at hugging that outside line? There you go. Oh, these guys are going to be close. Car number 10 is Valentin. Ricky is in the Corvette on the left-hand side of your screen. We're heading down into the chute at the moment. Valentin's still got the inside line. He's still good. They're not giving up. Oh, no! Oh, that was just... Oh, that was such a shame for Ricky. He was doing so well. And he just went round all on his own. That was just too much acceleration too soon. And he's in on the left-hand side there, Chris, as well. He crashed on the coming round that corner. And that's such a shame for him, because that was looking like a really good battle.
Yeah, it really was, and you can go too wide through most of that section of the track, but you do have to be careful. And I know they're 12 minutes in, the tyres should be warmed up by now, but you know, if you've not necessarily been aware or too comfortable with the outside line, you just have to be very smooth on your inputs. Otherwise, exactly what happened is what's going to happen. And in the heat of the battle, obviously you want to get on the throttle as early as possible because you want that position, but this is the unfortunate downside. So if you get that fraction wrong, and it was only a fraction, Ricky, as we know, is a very talented driver, so it just shows you how hard he was having to push to get to a spin like that.
Yeah, he's currently in the pits and he's out completely, unfortunately for him, so that's such a shame. As we see Barrelot and Martin Meyer, they're going to be jumping up through the S's section. This is full speed. This isn't a lift, guys. This isn't a lift and let it go. You are kind of going through there full throttle. As we see Barrett climbing all over the back of Martin Meyer as we're heading down into the outer loop now. That we've climbed over this long straight. Now we've seen stronger toes already through this race, you know, because Charvet has already got the job done on Flamand, I believe, before they even hit that straight, Chris. That toe didn't look as strong as I was expecting it in the Porsches.
No, but then I think it's one of those things that sometimes these drivers might just be, as you can see here, you've got a train of 4 cars. Sometimes you're just content to sit there. They know, look at how far they are to Dam in the lead. Dam is only 11 seconds ahead of this train here. They can afford to just roll together like this, because they're not really losing too much time. And certainly for Flamont here, just fuel save. We might be able to see if he's maybe lifting a little bit, although they may well just all be pushing as hard as possible. But if he can save a bit of fuel, he'll jump these guys in the pits rather than get involved in silly battles that cost them all time.
Yeah, I think that the problem is, though, Chris, with these guys, they're looking at losing a second a lap. They're losing a second of their lap to Dam in front, and we know Dam is no slouch at the moment, as we can see Labate and Armstrong just going round the hill, coming up to second to last corner up over the hill at the moment. They go in the left-hander. It's quite a sweeping turn. It looks a lot tighter than it is from my own experiences driving in the LMP2 here. You can take that in a fairly relative, second gear, but you can let it run a little bit. You're not under too much restriction to kind of slow it down. But Labate is not looking as comfortable in the Porsche, Chris, as he was in the Audi.
No, but then everyone's going to have their favourite cars. I, for example, I love the Corvette GT. I'm much better in it than I am in the BMW GTE, which is mercifully not available for this series. But everyone's style is going to suit certain cars better than it is others. Yeah, we've got 3 cars, 3 series, Chris. LMP2. Oh, I believe was that Carlos going Oz. Carlos in first, and that was the risks we were talking about, Chris. We said about not taking these risks, but here he goes. He's going to be looking at trying to take out the outside up through the toe, and he just doesn't get left. The room by Charvet. Charvet was, and he had an LMP2 on the inside, and that's put really the end of his race, Chris. And this is what we mean. I think the experience, not saying Carlos isn't experienced because we've seen him all season, but one slip trying to make a move in the wrong place when he could have waited until the end of toe, and he could have made it successful. But second place has just come in with the backer at the moment. That's allowed Pizzo up into second. I don't know what you think about it, Chris. Maybe you're looking at it in a different way to me, but I just kind of would have waited. I don't know if I would have jeopardized it. I'm in the lead. Why do I need to? Then I think that's exactly the thing. Because you're in the lead, you're thinking, I need to maximise my gains while I've got no one in front of me to battle with. And obviously you're looking at all that traffic, you're thinking, I need to get past this traffic or I'm going to be swallowed up by second place and third place. You've got a lot of very quick drivers just behind you in the LMP1 field today. But, all it takes is one split-second decision and you go bang, as we just saw. And I think Watkins encourages that because there's no real heavy braking zones. It's all about precision. So if you're making these tiny errors, it builds and you cost yourself so much lap time. But we've got a pretty interesting battle developing here for the lead in LMP2, James. Yeah, we've got Mariani and Panetta. They are currently heading down into Hill. But that section there, Chris, when we watched them go through toe, that's the section Carlos had. And that's why I don't understand the risking of trying to take a corner like the toe 3 wide when you have got this straight run down the hill, which we saw in Masters so early. I think, your exact words, Chris, were hot knife through butter. He looked like, I'm trying to think of a funny analogy, but I can't actually think of anything for him to get through there. That just seemed a bit of a sloppy decision and an uncharacteristic decision from Carlos in that race, Chris. Yep, I think what happened really is there's that split-second idea that, well, the inside of the turn is very busy, so I'll take the outside of the turn. But, of course, the GTEs in particular, they're going to drift out wide. And I think it was a multi-class miscommunication. It is, however, it's a lot easier to overtake one class than it is to overtake 2 classes at the same time, as we've just seen. So we've got the GTE battle in front. We've got Dam now is only half a second ahead of Barrivera. We're not going to say that traffic has pulled in, pulled a major factor in that. As you can see, car number 17, that's Zavoli, has just flashed them to try and get past in the LMP2s. But we've also got the LMP1s in the background as well. I believe
that was car 32 and Santos and Rob Armstrong there in the middle of a battle as well. That's over third and fourth currently in place as we go past the GTEs battling for first and second. I love Watkins Glen. I think Watkins Glen as a circuit, Chris, would be absolutely outstanding. I thought about jumping into the ESS. Maybe I definitely won't be in the top split, but I looking at this, I kind of sit back and think, okay, I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have done that. Now, me and you seem to be cut from the same cloth when it comes to racing, Chris. We're quite,
fast.
Yeah, we're not very, we're not very quick, but we're also a little bit on the conservative side. However, I have had my races where I've gone full aggression and it's not really worked out for me either. So, maybe conservative is better. But I see Watkins Glen as a circuit where there's places like this to make the moves if you're in the LMP2 cars. I wouldn't shoot it out the inside of somebody in tow, Chris.
No, but then you can go too wide through there. It is possible. And I think it's us who are on board with him. It's worth giving Rob Armstrong a shout out because he is car number 37 in this field, up 7 places into 4th position here. He really putting, that iRating of his is sort of putting it to shame. He's absolutely flying at the moment. And I really hope I don't curse him here because this first third of the race has really been strong from Rob Armstrong because he's not necessarily someone I would associate with top speed. And I apologise for saying that, Rob, but I'm comparing you to some of the elite LMP1 drivers here, and you're holding your own. So don't listen to me. You're clearly good.
Yeah, that's no disrespect to Mr. Rob Armstrong. Much love for him, for Chris Hitchin in chat. Go on, Rob. Rob P4 LMP1. Go on, son. That's what we like to see, guys. Get the chat flowing. Have an interactive conversation. And come and join us for the last 40 minutes of this race. This race has been absolutely epic. We've had Spets go out on the pace lap. Clapham went out as well. Carol Mouldy got involved and they all went out as well. Bielek was also out. We've had Ricky, unfortunately, spun it on his own after being in an epic battle as well. And it's been absolutely incredible start to this race where Cowlock's put it into the wall himself from the lead, trying to go 3 wide into tow. So if you are sitting there thinking, I've missed loads of action, don't forget you can go back and watch the stream as guys as well. Just rewind and you can sit and watch it as we see Rob Armstrong siving his way past the LMP1 of Panetta. That was the leader of the LMP2, sorry. Panetta, who is being chased down by Mariani, who is staying on board with his battle with Rob Armstrong, who's currently 0.6 seconds ahead of Santos at the moment. So, it's been absolutely amazing. We're going forward now as well. Barry Vera is gone past Mike Adam. We're going to see if we can. Producer Sean is scurrying in the background. There you go. Traffic again, Chris. Traffic. Dam goes wide. No choice, really, because he's got the faster cars on the inside. This is Dam, who had this huge lead at one point and is now down into second place because traffic played a massive part for him, Chris.
It just goes to show you that building up that huge lead in the first third of the race doesn't necessarily count for much because all it takes is one small incident and you've lost all of that time. But turn 1 is a corner that you can make going very wide work, but I think you have to have sort of anticipated that in the entry by braking a lot later, whereas I think he would have braked normally and then had to get out of it because of the traffic, and then you have compromised your speed massively. But yeah, you do. It's interesting how many different lines can work through so many different corners here, which is I think why when it's one class on one class, it is actually reasonably straightforward to get past. Although personally, I find it, as someone who drives both GTs and LMP2s, the relatively similar pace through the corners as we're seeing here, it can sometimes be quite awkward because the LMP2s just lack that little bit of extra speed, or the boost that makes it just that little bit easier for the LMP1s to get through.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with LMP2s. I think people sit back and say, well, the LMP2s are catching the GTEs and they're going past it. Then, yes, they are quicker, but they're only quicker from the 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th gears. Your first and second, you're trawling around the corner the same speed as the GTE, and that's where sometimes we see the major collision. As we see Martin Meyer, I believe that's going to be parallel as well. On the right-hand side of your screen, Martin Meyer gets up into 8th as they still side by side going around outer loop. They're going to be coming down into the chute. That's left Martin Meyer on the outside for the chute, and that allows Barrelay just to keep on to that position, Chris. How long for? We have yet to see 0.164 seconds as they're heading down round two at the moment. You know, we've got to see it there, Chris. It's going to not be long, but take us through the replay.
Yep, so, oh dear. So yeah, we're showing Owen, who is in chat, exactly how he was eliminated in the race. There wasn't really anything he could do there whatsoever. I know, like I said earlier, Spets wasn't holding the brake, but I think even if he had held the brake, we're probably going to see a few of the LMP2s die anyway, so he was almost basically deciding which LMP2s he decided to kill. But I guess this is why, you know, in my head, this is why you take it easy on the pace.
Oh, Stockton, Martin Meyer. Oh, Stockton was just literally flying in that LMP1. And Martin Meyer, well, Chris, it just looked like he was his brake. I don't even think Stockton kind of lifted. It didn't look like it lifted. Maybe an onboard listening, but wow, Chris, that seemed one unfortunate move. As you see it here, Stockton is behind, Martin Meyer is in front. Stockton's in the Porsche. Let's listen. I didn't hear a lift before we decided to hit Martin Meyer there, Chris. I'm a little bit worried. I don't really know where to go with that. You know, we're supposed to be a little bit unbiased as commentators.
I think that's someone who isn't aware of the GTE stopping distances through some of the corners, which is, well, I guess one of the troubles of the multiclass racing in iRacing is that there's no requirement that you drive the other cars. For me personally, when I moved into the LMP2s after driving the GTEs, I understood a lot better why, you know, if I was in a GTE from that point onwards, I knew better what to do to facilitate the lapping from the LMP2s and vice versa for the GTEs. I think with the LMP1s, you really should be thinking of prioritising overtaking on acceleration out of corners using the boost. So I think there was just a little bit lack of understanding of how much the GTE needed to slow through that corner, because of course they've not got the same level of downforce the prototypes do, so they can't take corners with the same kind of speed, and I suspect that won't be the last incident we see of that nature as well. And Stockton has actually gone into pits as well, so I'm guessing he has received some damage from that incident too, which I guess is only fair.
Yeah, I think to be fair, when you look at that last corner, you know, we're looking at Dam at the moment. He's climbing all over the back of Barriera, going down into outer loop, and then they're going to be heading round down into chute. You know, I was expecting Dam to make a massive move then, Chris. You know, but maybe, as we say, he's looking to go longer. Would you say, is it possible he could be sitting there thinking, well, you're in front, I can keep up with you. Let's have a little bit of fuel save and see how long I can stretch this out for.
Well, yeah, exactly. It doesn't look like Verdelivo is able to reduce this 2.2 second gap too much. So all three of them lapped nearly identical lap times last time out, and the Barraviera and Dam have got faster slaps, but again, not by a huge amount. So I think this is just that stage where, you know, the race is falling into a bit of a holding pattern. Barraviera and Dam know that if they work together and they don't fight too hard, they can just try and secure that top two positions. And then certainly for Dam, as you say, I think just a little bit of fuel saving if he can manage it, and maybe he can pit a lap earlier than Barraviera and try and get the undercut on him. Just these are the kind of things these drivers will start thinking about as we reach the halfway stage of the race.
Yeah, Verdelido's 2.5 seconds back for the leaders in GTE. There they are. They've just gone past your screen now, as you see the LMP1s going past that currently at the moment. And, you know, we're heading down into turn one. Verdelivo, as we know, is quick. He switched over to the Corvette for the last two races, I believe. As we see Rob Armstrong and the Santos battle go up into the field. It'd be interesting if we can jump on board with them and see how that's going to turn out, because they were tucked right up behind each other to go down the straight. We've got GTEs, LMP1s trying to get through. This is going to be an absolute man. That's number 40 of an LMP. That's Clapham. He's still in the race at the moment. He's well down the field, unfortunately for him, but he needs to be looking at his relative and thinking, there you go. He is, you know, that looked a fairly sensible move there from Clapham. You know, we discussed the iRating gap, and there's a massive one between Clapham and, for instance, Jan Kurbs and Spet. You know, he looked like he was he facilitated well there. As you see, Catchpole down into turn one, he runs just given. I believe is this okay? Is that just Catchpole? I think that's Catchpole giving up, unfortunately. So that's a shame for him. As we see the Rob Armstrong Sanders battle. Now, we were talking about iRating difference, and we were talking about the experiences and what, you know, because we know iRating makes a massive difference in this game between 7K and 1K, Chris. But Clapham seems to have had his head moved on there. He got round out a loop, shifted out the way, let them guys go straight through. So is it really not the style of driving, you know, because it could be that Clapham has been unlucky?
Yeah, I mean, it's easily that. I think also something to bear in mind with ESS in particular is this is an A-class series for safety rating. All of the drivers driving here today have got an A license. I mean, you can drive with a B 4.0 above, but basically what I'm getting at is you have to have been driving incident-free laps for quite a while to qualify for this series. So even our less fast drivers are going to have the expertise, if not in the car they're driving now, in some form of car. They'll understand iRacing's physics model. They'll understand the basics of racing. It just goes to show you how difficult multi-class is, that we still see the amount of incidents that we do see and how silly some of them can be. But, you know, I like that this is sort of democratic and that it's not about how fast you are. It's just about, you know, if you're safe enough, you can get in. And the LMP1s tend not to split. So we do get to see quite a wide range.
2 seconds there, Chris. If we can have somebody in the background, Mr. Producer, we can look in YouTube chat currently as well. That would be an ideal if we can jump on that one and maybe limit the amount that's being received at this moment in time. That would be absolutely amazing. We go back on board with Barra Vieira and Dan there. They're still currently fighting the issues that you can see currently at the moment. So we're going to be heading round second to last corner, down into the last corner before we get on to the straightaway. And then we're going to be seeing these guys battling as much as possible all the way up through the S's and then on to the back straight, Chris, where we're expecting most of the action to be, I believe.
Yep, I mean, it's where you want to really plan your overtake. And I mean, Mike Dam is too far behind you. You can see they're nearly 4 tenths slower on the last lap. And when you consider he's only 5.5 tenths behind, it just shows you how big of a difference that will make. But again, worth keeping an eye on that relative, because you can see how much of that gap he's going to make back up on this long back straight. And again, if he can get his line sorted round the next corner and, well, round the whole ear sort of boot section, you can, you know, that's what, 3 tenths he's just gained. If you can follow through the dirty air, which isn't too difficult for the GTEs, it just shows you just how difficult it's going to be for Barra Vieira to try and get away from Dam. But they are 3 seconds clear of Verdelevo.
Yeah, they've gone up from 2.4, I believe, out to 3 at the moment. I don't know if traffic has played a massive part for Verdelevo as we're heading round toe and down onto the boot straight. There is Verdelevo there. He's currently just over 3 seconds, touching in and out of 3 seconds as well. You know, I think it's going to be interesting with 28 minutes remaining. I don't see, we talk about this aggressive movements of the car and we talk about the aggressive actions, you know, we've got in the car. You know, if you're going to jinx right, you jinx left. We saw incidents from it last week in LMP2s. Mike Dam doesn't look to be making the aggressive moves I would expect of somebody to be pushing forward, Chris, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, but I think at this sort of level, so both Barra Vieira and Dam are sort of mid 5k iRating guys. They're clearly quick. They clearly know how to drive these cars. They're probably both, you know, right at the limit of the kind of pace they can generate for an hour-long race. So I don't think there's any need for either of them to do anything silly at this point, because, like we've said, Dam is possibly looking just to conserve a little bit of fuel, just, you know, information gather. See where Barra Vieira is quick and slow on each corner just by following him round for a few laps. I'll be interested to see if he tries the undercut, because we are beginning to approach the point where they can pit. But I think the GTEs in particular, it's just perhaps a little bit too early to be thinking about it entirely. And what you don't want to happen is pit early and be launched directly into traffic that's going to compromise your race.
Yeah, well, I think at the moment, is we're going to flick. I believe we've just been mentioned there that Flamant has had an accident. I believe coming down into turn one. Is this going to be a run wide? Round we go onto the curb. We get unsettled and then into the wall. Unfortunately, Flamant, that's an unfortunate accident. But as you say, that's probably one of the first ones we've seen of them tonight. Now I'm looking at the track map that we can all see currently. Now they go into the pits, right? And obviously, get the fuel. They'll get out again. Pit lane time generally about 30 seconds. Pit stop time maybe about 11. We're looking at 40 seconds. If these guys go in, Chris, there is a nice little gap between car number the 10 LMP1 car, which is Clapham, and that back straight before we hit car 6 of the LMP2. So the gap is there. However, that was crazily close. Was that Giroli, I believe? Or was that Armstrong?
Yeah, and I think he got hit.
Was that Armstrong that may hit him going round the last corner? We're going to have a look at that and see on Verda. I believe that might have actually been Rob Armstrong going round and then tagging. Oh no, it wasn't Rob Armstrong. It was whoever was behind Rob.
Teixeira got the second hit, but I do believe Verda was slightly nudged and had his line compromised and his speed compromised by the LMP1. As you can see, so slight touch there. You can see him slide and then bang.
Yeah, they look quite a little bit of a net code there, Chris, though, as well, because that instant jinx off, put him kind of head first into the wall. A very unusual. But there's Armstrong and that's Cole, maybe, actually. I've said Rob Armstrong, but they're in the same livery, so it's possible that it was actually Cole that may have caused us. The problem is we've got Labate going up the inside. We're going to be out onto the third to last corner, up over the hill, breaking down. Third gear on the run out, and then we're going to be full throttle all the way round. We're going to be letting it go. Fourth, fifth, coming round into the last corner, lifting off, and around we go onto the start finishing straight. An unavoidable accident, Chris, or would you just say a difference of closing speeds?
Obviously it's not good because it's happened. But I think it's just, you get them, we've seen them in every single race. I think we'll see them in every single iRacing multi-class race for the rest of time. You will occasionally get these split-second mistakes that just cause a huge incident. It's an inevitable part of sim racing, and like we've said before, latency isn't, we can't really solve the speed of light, so we can't make internet connections quicker than they are in terms of how the server's going to receive and send data. So you do have to allow. I think for me, I try and allow a bit of extra space, pretend my car is wider than it is, but then that's why I've only got 2 wins to my name in iRacing, and a lot of these guys will have many more because they'll go for the gap. Yeah,
and I think we're different in our mentality as drivers. They ask us all the time, do commentators make great drivers? And we don't. Generally, we spend more time talking about it than we actually do being on track. I think I've done, I don't know about you, Chris, but I've currently probably done about 2 races a week. And that was 2 rounds Amvot, and one I managed to get third, and the next one I got killed. So, we're just a cut of different cloth, aren't we, as commentators, than these guys, and we don't always push as hard as probably we should do. But I think from a GTE point of view, looking at Dam at the moment, he doesn't look like he's giving it full beans. He's not as quick as we have seen previously.
Well, yes and no. I think traffic is probably playing a bigger role in these time differences between Barravier and Dam than I would say overall paces. As we see there, Dam's probably lost about half a second from that interaction with the prototype. He was 3/10 down that lap, as you can see on the timing tower there. But they've dropped Valentin. I know, obviously, we've had the incident earlier with Verda, so that was the sort of main competition for them, and Dam is already catching back up. So I think Dam is, I personally suspect Dam is slightly faster on overall pace, and he's just biding his time. But let's just wait for Barraviera to prove us wrong. He's been very quick in previous races we've broadcast, so let's not discount him either. He is, after all, leading this race.
Yeah, as we see Como coming very wide round turn 1, you can take that line as long as you're back on track by the smallest corner of grass on the right hand side as you're coming approaching. As long as you get inside the track by then, you don't have a 1x. We got Texera in number 22 and Giroli in number 20. Giroil in number 23. You're heading out on the right hand side. You've got the number 12 car in front as well. I believe that's Bilak. He's back on trying to climb his way back through. But there you go. Giroli is done the move into outer loop, and that puts him ahead of Texera, who was aptly involved in what looked a little bit of a netcode issue earlier on with Levo, unfortunately in the Corvette. These guys currently are heading round toe at the moment. We're going to be round toe and then onto the straightaway, which they aptly named the boot straight. There you go. We got the toe, the boot, and now we're coming into the hill as we see Jan Korbs trying to slice his way through the LMP2 field, coming round the hill. I'm guessing, though, Chris, we haven't got a name for this circuit, but we could technically call it the toes or the ankle or something, couldn't we? You know, we've got the boot, the toe, the heel. Why not let's have the ankle for that corner?
It doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't sound quite as cool, although, I don't know, heels and toes are not necessarily, well, I suppose there's a racing connection to them, but there is with an ankle. Again, look at the congestion again. We haven't had that for about half an hour, and it's quite bad here. Yeah, 3 cars, three series out on track all at the same time going down into turn 1. That's car number 33 of the GTEs. That currently, I believe, is Martin Meyer on his way back through after getting a love tap earlier on. He's going to be coming back through at the moment in the field. And DeBacco's on his way from 9th. He's on his way trying to catch back up as well. Was in the pits. I've got him down. I don't know about you. I've got him down for about 2 minutes, 44 seconds in the pits there as we see Texera slice past Chave. He's currently in the Ford in the GTE. Now we're heading round the chute. And then we're going to be going down into the toe. And then we're on to the boot straight very shortly as we're round the toe momentarily as heading down into the gears. 3rd gear, we're going to be looking at rolling around, getting a good exit. Currently out onto the boot straight. There you go. We're on it now. We go up over the hill. We're going to be looking for the 100 board on the left-hand side. We've got to pick a marker, you know, otherwise we're going to go wrong. So there you go, the 100 round the hill. And this is going to be my favourite corner. I think we're going to aptly name this. We're going to go up and round the ankle and then off over to the last 2 corners before the end of the straight. Chris, I'm sorry, Chris, I've got to name it now. I just feel that that's aptly named corner there because we don't actually have a corner for the last 3 names for the last 3 corners on this track, Chris. About it, it does work quite well because that turn 9, the ankle, as it were, very easy to roll the car there.
Well, there you go.
It's a very weird camber. I mean, I'm surprised we've not seen anyone do it tonight because it is such a tricky corner to take quickly without risking a spin, both during the apex and on an exit under power.
Well, there you go. So, there you go. We've aptly named that corner after the hill is the ankle. As we see in Texera now, he's got Giroli in front of him, heading up the S's. Weaving, again, we saw a lot of this last week. It's not as drastic as we've seen last week. But we've still got a little bit of it. Giroli's going to be hugging the outside. He's going to be wanting to take the inside line. As they head down into shoot, he's got the inside line. Texera's got it. Giroli's got it. He wants to take the next one. He's got to be looking as well. Car behind is not for position. He's just trying to keep up with these guys. Texera is now up into 3rd in class, heading round toe and down the boot, Chris.
Yep, it's been an interesting battle, and it's amazing how well they're dealing with the traffic. Also, shout out to Rob Armstrong, who was briefly leading this race, although he is in the pits and DeBacca has just gone back past. So I think Santos is possibly going to be able to get past him as well as he comes down the main straight. We'll have to see if he can keep ahead of Ollie Cole. I think that won't be so much of a problem. He's quite a bit further behind, but he's not, 20 minutes left to go in this race. That podium is not completely settled in LMP1, let alone the other classes, which are still quite close together.
Yeah, so Rob is currently 3rd overall, but he's come out not far behind Santos, Chris. Santos is only a little bit up the road. There he is in the background. There is Armstrong behind him. So that's going to be an interesting battle that's going to materialise for the last 17 minutes. As we got Flack and Etienne, I believe, there as well. Car number 30. Yep, that is Etienne in the Corvette and Clack in the Porsche. They are battling down in 10th and 11th for class as they're heading round the toe section now, hard on the brakes. Clack has got a little bit of damage there, Chris, but as we see, it doesn't normally affect him normally in the cars.
No, yeah, it's just one of those things, and I think it'll be interesting to see just how hard these guys start battling now. So, you know, we're just getting into the end. This is now a rookie Mazda and a bit left of racing, and we've all done rookie Mazdas. We know how frantic they can get, although perhaps I'm being a bit unfair to compare these drivers to the rookie Mazda drivers that we've all been victim of.
All DMs regarding complaints, if we could just keep them away from TSS, all directed at Mr. Chris Rowlands through Discord. He's doing well today, unfortunately. Rob Armstrong being slow. I think there was actually a message in chat, I believe, as well, that said something about Rob Armstrong in slow 2021 Chris Rowlands at Watkins Glen. So you're making a name for yourself there, Chris, and then you're comparing drivers to rookies. You're doing well this evening, sir.
Sure, I wasn't calling out people that were weaving in previous races, and then I'll go ahead and insult some of our lovely drivers we've had today.
I don't know who that was, Chris. Unfortunately, I don't know if I was here last week. As we see, Giroli and Texera. Oh dear, Chris. Well, we're not going to see any of that this week, which is a really nice thing to see. Even though you would actually have the opportunity, Chris, with that long back straight. That, you know, that weaving could come in quite handy there, really, couldn't it?
It could do, but something I was just going to point out is with Bishoa in the GTEs having pitted and just on his way out now, the entire field has now pitted, which means this is now a straight sprint to the finish. And the other thing that I think is worth pointing out is our top three in LMP1, DeBacker, Santos and Armstrong. They've gained 7, 8 and 8 positions respectively. So it just goes to show you it isn't always about the raw pace, not that these guys aren't quick. It's about how you survive and how you deal with the traffic on the circuit, and these three have all done a fantastic job of that, as has Panetta, who's currently leading the LMP2s.
Yeah, he's got Mariani not really far behind him currently in track. As you see, Will Barravera and Dan there, they're still really close together. He's at 1.8 seconds. Are we looking now, though, 15 minutes remaining, Chris? If Dan drops back any more, are we looking at a contented second place, do you think? Because Dan is normally quick right the way through the whole hour. He's just dropping off a little bit, as we see a Corvette there. Unfortunately, didn't see who that was. It looks like he's had a spin going by the grass lines on the right-hand side. That was Cocono. Is this a touch? Are they weaving? What are they? What?
That looks deliberate to me, but I think we'd need another look at that. But there's no reason for the Corvette to have been moving the way he was there.
Is he off? Is he damaged? Are we? What is?
Yep. So I think what's happened there. Initially, that's that sort of thing where you meet someone in a corridor and you both go the same way to give way. And instead of laughing it off, it does look a bit like Kakino has deliberately tagged Cole at the end there. But yeah, there's not been any aggro over voice chat with that. So perhaps it was just an unfortunate accident. And that's unfortunately Cole's race ruined. But it does promote Pizzo, Labate, Curbs and DeBacker up position each. So some precious points to try and catch up with Curbs, although Curbs himself is obviously going to benefit from that. But yeah, I don't know. It just goes to show you that you can drive perfectly for 45 minutes and all it takes is one misunderstanding and your race is done.
Yeah, and are we saying then that both drivers are potentially at fault for that, Chris? Because it was kind of almost that dancing in the corridor, as you say, and not quite sure which way to go.
Yeah, and it's, you know, we were saying this earlier, we're remarkably prescient in this way about how it's all about your car's body language. You need to make it clear what you're doing. The GTE didn't really need to be in the middle of the track on exit there, and that's kind of, not that the GTE is solely at fault there, but if you just pick a side, it makes it so much easier for everyone around you to know which side they need to pick. By sort of sitting in the middle of the track, and I know to an extent you just have to run your own race and you stay on your line. That is the iRacing sporting code, but you know that has ruined both their races. And if they'd just been a little bit more assertive about where they are on the track, like Mariani's just done, then and the GTE, let's give credit where it's due. They've both facilitated that pass.
Yeah,
that's why Mariani is in second and chasing the victory in LMP2s. That's why Cole and the GTE are not.
Now, looking at that, Chris, right, we sit there and say we put it down to a little bit of dancing in the corridor, but these guys are on 3K iRating. They must have done these moves previously. Yeah, you know, they're on 3K iRating, Chris. We're not talking about the lower end here. These guys have passed people previously. You know, I'm just saying, they're both on 3K. They're not low, Chris.
They've clearly got ability, but then I'm nearly 3K rating. And if you ask the Australian chap that I murdered in Formula Renault about 3 weeks ago, he would quite reasonably say I can't drive. So we all have a moment in us. So perhaps that was just their moment. Right.
Okay. Let's just we'll move on from that one, because I'm sure we could be here for the next 11 minutes discussing what was actually happening there. I think we're going to aptly name it "Dancing in the Corridor," as we see Tom Carroll has put for you, Chris. Rob Armstrong is a rookie. Rowlands 2021 in chat. So you're making marks all over the place this evening, Chris. Well done to you.
Well, you know, I've got to do something, and it wouldn't be ESS Thursday nights without sprinkling of controversy, and we've managed to get that both on the track and in the booth.
Yeah, exactly. We had lots of it last week as well at the Red Bull Ring. So, you know, it's going to be interesting. We've got Charvet on Simnar currently as they head round hill. As I say, we have these commentators corner up in the next one. We've actually named this next left-hander the ankle, because it is so easy to roll it and spin it round in this corner. There you go. And we're off down to second to last. Simnar, Simnar reminds me though, Chris, every time he drives and every time we've watched him, you know, I think we brought up, he's Mr. Consistent, isn't he? If you wanted somebody to take control of your account, to move up your IR, you would kind of give Richard a call and say, here mate, log it, can you bump up my IR? Because he is just that Mr. Consistent all the way, isn't he? Obviously that's against the rules and terms and conditions to give you account details. Don't get me wrong, I'm not recommending anybody do that. I'm just saying, to me over this season, he's always been Mr. Consistent. I think I once put him as he was just plodding round in a race, but he, you know, let's give Simnar due. He's nearly 3.5K, which is you know, a lot more than me.
It's a good thing that you've not put this on anywhere that's being recorded forever for iRacing's efficiency. But no, Richard's really impressed me while we've been covering this. Because, you know, he's pretty much consistently been with other drivers on the track, and I don't think we've ever really seen him have an incident that that certainly wasn't his fault. And if he's been involved in tiny scuffles, it's usually when there's about 3,000 cars trying to go into the corner at the same time. There's not really a huge amount you can do in those situations. But, you know, there's a reason why he's one of the top championship guys in this broadcast split, and it's because he's just so consistent race after race. There's no point having sort of Studentsky level pace if you're going to have Studentsky level driving ability when it comes to the cars around you.
Chris, stop for this evening. We got 9 minutes remaining. Yes, we all know what we're talking about. If you don't, please have a look at last week's Red Bull Ring. It was an absolute epic, controversial, well worth a watch. I think we counted 10 cars in one corner across 3 classes, but you know, fair play to Richard Simnar. Still on track, up 2 on his qualifying position. He's up into 5th place, so well done to him here. We got the Dan Barry Vieira battle. I believe this has been the closest we have seen it for a few laps, Chris, with 8.5 minutes remaining. We're looking at a moment, I think 0.6 away from each other with 8 minutes to go. It's hotting up. Is Dan now looking at just increasing that little switch a little bit and really kind of bumping up the pressure on Barry Vieira?
Yep, although I think if any driver is going to be able to resist that pressure, it's someone of the calibre of Barra Vieira. He's a quick driver, and he's so consistent to go with that. But so is Mike Dam. And, you know, he's got the draft. He may well just be biding his time. You can see hit now already, Barra Vieira just ever so slightly wiggling on the straight. That certainly wasn't a weave. But to me, that's an element of just saying, look, I know you're there. I will fight you if you come near me. He needs to bring some of that sort of raccoon energy to the fight that I think they're going to have. Just sort of fight for his life. Maybe a slightly faster animal than a raccoon. I don't know. I've clearly drunk something.
Welcome into the ESS Watkins Glen. We've got Mr. Chris Rowlands, who's had far too much coffee this evening. If you don't know what we're talking about, please watch back the broadcast. You will have a chuckle as much as I had on this Thursday night. I've just got some of what the analogies we're seeing this evening, Chris, you're absolutely flying. As we see Dam closing out the back of Barra Vieira, 0.8 seconds, and closing. We've got LMP2 go past us. I believe that was the Panetta in the LMP2. It was the leader, and there is Mariani in the LMP2 as well. These guys, we've got the leaders of two classes here in one straight at the moment. This is going to be very interesting for 6 minutes. I think Dam is going to be... I think he's going to be facilitating moves, Chris, but I don't think he's going to be really making drastic measures to get out of the way. But nor should he, I suppose, with 6 minutes to go in second place.
Also, I think the other perspective they can look at now is that none of these LMP1 or LMP2 drivers are really in a sort of life and death battle. Well, I suppose no one's really in a life and death battle. This is a sim. But they're, 10 minutes to go, well, 6 minutes to go, sorry. They can see on their relative that there's no second car in the prototype field alongside. If I'm the GTE, I'm thinking, no, we're in a battle here. You can wait. You can do this when it's more than obvious to go, like now, for example. Although, actually, you can see exactly what's happened there.
Yeah, it's a speed differential we were talking about, wasn't it, between where they're at and on the circuit. I think, Labate has got to really look back and think, I'm 55 minutes in. I've got 5 minutes remaining. There's no point me hurling it upside on the up on the inside on the last corner, Chris. But these guys haven't really lost a lot of time to each other, have they?
And I think that's what the flash from Barra Vieira was about there as well. Just sort of saying, look, thank you for waiting until there was, thank you for compromising me massively, because now Dam is well within the draft. This could potentially be a move. You can see him catching on the screen now. This is close.
I think here we go as we head up to the back straight. The gap is going to be closing on Dam. He's 0.3, 0.28 and closing. Heading down outer loop. He's going to be looking at, if he's going to make a move, he's got to be looking at sticking his nose out shortly. Otherwise, the door is going to close it's going to close by Barra Vieira as we're heading down. Shoot. Still 2 attempts. He's got closer and closer. Heading round. Shoot now. And then we're going to be on that short little burst straight down into toe. Here we go. The gap is even 2.45. It's still closing down quicker and quicker as we head round toe. Barra Vieira is looking a little bit, got a little bit of a wiggle on as we're heading down the short burst straight. Aptly named the boot. Down, we're looking for the board on the left. There you go, hitting the brakes down into second, out, round and through. We're going to accelerate out. We're really close now. We're coming up to the ankle, up over the hill. On the brakes again, letting it roll round, getting it straight as much as we can, and off we go again. There's a prototype behind him as well. That's car number 13. I can't see currently, that's Catchpole there on his way back through the field. He's separated these two at the moment, which is a bit of a shame because I think this could have been a long run up the S's for Dam. He's got to be in the car kicking himself, hoping these LMP prototypes can get past him before he hits that long straight that he's going to be looking and making a move on Barra Vieira. Is closing up 0.36. There's another LMP in the way. Please, guys, keep out the way from GTAs. We're coming up the S's now. We're sitting on the back wing of Barra Vieira at the moment. We see Dam all over the back of us to close. The gap is closing. 2.4834, and we're on the front now of Dam. We're right out the back. It's 2.2. If we're going to be making a move, we're going to be looking at sticking our nose out shortly. Is this Dam's opportunity? We're going to be sending up on the right-hand side. We make it. Barra Vieira makes this one move. He closed it. He didn't run around the outside as I thought he was going to be out, down into through the outer loop there, Chris. And I thought, damn, that Barra Vieira made his one move, right? We've got that as racing. We know that. We make one move. He didn't weave. Great. Well done to Barra Vieira. Could Dam have gone around the outside, Chris, or is it not worth jeopardising with 3 minutes remaining?
He wasn't quite close enough, and you're also relying on Barra Vieira realising what's going on there and not just allowing his GTE to just understeer in. I mean, there would have been the advantage of you then have the inside of the next corner, but I don't think Dam had quite made it close enough to be looking at doing that. And I liked what Barra Vieira did there because he did move, and it was before the braking zone, but only just. He could not have moved across any later than that without being very, very cheeky indeed. But again, it's just going to give Dam that little bit extra to think about when they next come around that corner. Anything you can do to increase the uncertainty of the other driver as you're approaching the braking zone can only be an advantage at this stage of the race. Yeah,
we've got Como Barrel with Charvet. Oh, there we go. Como. It's got past. Was that Barrel going off into the wait, he just went off on his. I didn't see, unfortunately, what had happened on the screen. We're going to see back on the replay. Mateus Barrel of coming towards the end of the race. Did you just get on the gas too? Yeah, he looked like
he tagged the grass ever so slightly. It's so easily done there, and it wrecks your
yeah.
race.
Shame there as well, with just over 3 minutes remaining. But we go back on board with the Barra Vieira down battle as we're heading down the back straight again. 3-8 and closing. The LMP1 is going to clear us well in advance of coming in. Down into the outer loop. There we go. We're 2.8 now. 0.28 and closing at a rate of knots there. Down to 2 seconds. 2.7, 2.8. Down back out to 3. Out on the brakes. Down into toe. Down the straight away. We're on still pushing. This is the battle for GTEs overall. 1 minute 35 remaining. Barra Vieira and Dam, I believe. We're going to see... We can get I think this is going to be one more lap. White flag lap now. So Barra Vieira and Dam have got one more lap to get this done after this one. So it's going to be interesting to see. We'll see if we stay on board. I believe they're currently the closest battles on the field. The LMP1, the Paguayas out in front of Santos, and I believe they're finished. They would have been done currently in position. So this is the Dam Barra Vieira battle. Start finish straight. Here we go. Last lap. Let's go for it, Dam, as we're heading down into the first corner. We're going to be looking, Chris, if I'm going to say this, he isn't going to want Barra Vieira to come back. This is going to be a back straight job. Round out on the accelerator as quickly as we can, missing that little corner of grass. Up through the S's, through the gears now. We're going to be pushing as much as we can. Fourth. Fifth over the hill, hanging it out. This is the close up there. Here we go. Barra Vieira, which way are you going to go? He takes the outside, Down takes the outside, and we're on in 6th gear. Down the back straight, going down outer loop. Is this going to be too wide? Outer loop, last corner, GTE, first and second currently. It is. Dam's hugging it out around the outside. We're heading round. We're going to be coming down into shoot. Dam has got the inside line. Last lap. This is it. Job done. Dam. Down into shoot, Chris. Are we saying that's done before the end of the lap?
He needs to keep it calm for half a lap. That was the easiest overtaking spot on the circuit, but that doesn't mean Barra Vieira can't do something here. That was very, very close, but it's going to compromise his exit. Yeah,
I think it's compromised his exit as we come down the little boot, coming down into hill. This is the GTEs, guys, the closest battle on the circuit for the lead, first and second. Heading down into hill now. We're going to be out up through the grid, third, touching fourth, and then we're going to be back on the brakes for the ankle. We're going to be turning left. Turn left, there you go. Is this going to be Damsel to lose? Heading round the second to last corner. We're going to be trying to miss the curb on the outside. We don't want to unsettle the car. There you go. Dam does the job absolutely amazingly. Round the last corner, Barra Vieira in second, Dam in first place. I believe this is going to be job done, Mike Dam. Well done. Congratulations to you. Last lap overtake. Wow.
That was lovely.
We're just going to go to a quick ad break, guys, and we will run you through the results after the ad.
He's only got 2 corners left here to go. I think Spins. Oh no, he's taken the lead there for the victory. As they come down the corner, 1.5 seconds before that separates them. Welcome to race day in the Jeans Bowl F3 League. Heads up the inside, that's 2 positions in 1 corner.
Kind of just throw the keys in the bowl and go for it, so that's it.
And we are back, guys. Much appreciated for staying with us till the end of the race to see the results. That is the Jeans Bowl F3 League, bringing to you live next season on TSS as well. So as we head around the race results for tonight's race, and I think you'll admit it was an absolutely epic race. DeBacca's in first, Santos is in second, Armstrong is in third, Pizzo is in fourth, Labate in fifth, Corbs is in sixth, Neil DeBacca in seventh, Darryl Stockton in eighth, Stephen Clapham in ninth, Ollie Cole in 10th, Cowlotz in 11th, Schultz in 12th, Carey in 13th, and Spets in 14th of the LMP1s. So as we head down into the LMP2 field, we got Panetta in first, Mariani in second, Texera in third, Giroli in fourth, Freckleton in fifth, Ninivara in sixth, Catchpole in seventh, Zavoli in eighth, Bielek in ninth, Carroll in 10th, and Maldi in 11th, I believe, didn't finish the race after the pace car incident we had earlier. Now, in the GTEs, we had an absolutely epic battle from Dam and Barriviera there. Dam coming out on top. Barriviera 0.47 seconds behind him. We got Hugo Valentin in third, Bishoa in fourth. We got Mr. Consistency, Richard Simnar in fifth, Charbe in sixth, Commel in seventh, Barrel in eighth, Flamant in ninth, Etienne 10th, Clack in 11th. Cocono was involved in that incident with Ollie Cole. That's in 12th. Martin Meyer in 13th. Verdolivo in 14th. And Ricky down in 15th position, Chris. Now, looking at the championship standings for the broadcast split on a Thursday, Jan Corbs is, well, currently he is 56 points ahead of Carlo Labate. Carlos is in third, Pizzo in fourth, Taylor Mills is in fifth, Santos sixth, Will Woodland in seventh, Armstrong in eighth, Carey in ninth, and Baku in 10th place. So there you go. In the LMP2s, Stidinsky wasn't here this evening, is still in first, Alexandra Izzo is second, Bickley third, Corton fourth, Panetta, who was here, stays up in fifth place, Barrelero in sixth, Dashato in seventh, Cool Branson in eighth, Back in ninth, and Baumeister in 10th place for them. In the GTEs, Verdolivo is still in the lead by 20 points. Mr. Consistency, Richard Simnar, is up 2 places in 39 points. Take a bow, young sir. Danny Goslin in third, Mikael Rack in fourth, Mike Dam in fifth, Carmo in sixth, Valentin in seventh, Junior Borges is in eighth, Leidinger is in ninth, and Koloboksov is in 10th place. Wow. There you go. Chris, I live for this one moment every Thursday, right? How many words is it going to take you tonight to sum up tonight's race?
I can give it a go in 2 words maybe, which is last lap, because that was a pretty intense last lap, and I think Watkins Glen, it just does it. So yeah, last lap. That's the 2 words.
Is that the 2 words, or is
all
it
the filler around it? It was 2 words. There was lots of hyphens in that. Lots and lots of hyphens.
Was there lots of hyphens? Was there, Chris, for this evening?
I just don't pronounce them. The hyphens are silent.
Oh, okay. So there you go. There you go, guys. That is the 2 words from Chris Rowlands with hyphens in the middle. So what have we got on TSS for you this week? So on Saturday, we have the return of the ISRC, 8 hours of Watkins Glen, the same layout as tonight. So if you think an hour has brought you some amazing racing, imagine what 8 hours will bring you. It's going to be absolutely epic, and that is live on the TSS YouTube. 12 p.m. midday, right the way through to probably about 9, 10 o'clock as well on Saturday. Then on to the Sunday, it's the return of the IR UK GT3s, Pros and Elites. And that's from the classic, the infamous Suzuka circuit. And that's live at 7:45 on the IR UK Twitch and TSS YouTube channel. Then on Tuesday, it is the IR UK F3s from Zandvoort. That again is on the IR UK Twitch and TSS YouTube, and that's going to be live at 9:05 on Tuesday. And then again, we return next Thursday for the ESS live from Monza. And oh my God, I cannot wait for that one. That's going to be absolutely amazing. So guys, that's bringing to a close for tonight's broadcast All of our socials are down in the description on the YouTube, so if you are not following any of them, please hit that follow button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe, smash the like, and turn on that bell for notifications so you can be the first to know when TSS brings you the best racing that iRacing has to offer. And all that's left for me to say is from Chris, producer Sean, have a great rest of the week, stay safe, and we might see you on the track sometime.